The moth does not fear the ordinary flame. It fears the one bright enough to make darkness feel, for the first time, like a choice rather than a given. You have been reading the distance as a message about your value. Every unanswered reach, every retreat that followed a moment of genuine warmth, every silence that arrived precisely when something real was beginning to form. You have been interpreting all of it as evidence of your insufficiency, as the verdict of someone who assessed what you were offering and found it wanting. The mind does this. It fills the silence with the most available explanation, and the most available explanation when someone keeps their distance is that the distance is about what you lack. It is not. The distance is about what you are. And what you are, to the avoidant, is the specific category of person their entire psychological structure was built to keep at the furthest possible remove. Not because you threaten them in any ordinary sense, but because you represent the one thing their fear cannot negotiate with. The real thing. The avoidant is not afraid of people who do not matter. This is the architecture of their psychology that most people never fully grasp. They navigate ordinary connection with reasonable ease, present enough, warm enough at surface level, capable of the kind of engagement that reads as closeness without ever crossing into the territory where genuine vulnerability is required. Ordinary people do not disturb the equilibrium. Ordinary connection does not fire the alarm. You fired the alarm? Immediately, probably. Before either of you had the language for what was happening, something in the avoidance interior registered you as different, not in the flattering, romantic shorthand of that word, but in the precise, psychologically specific sense of someone whose presence would make the performance of not needing feel, over time, impossible to sustain. You are the person around whom the managed version of themselves would eventually, inevitably, become transparent. And a person who can see through the management is not a person the avoidant can afford to be close to. Not because they do not want closeness, because they want it so entirely, so completely, so much more than the self-sufficient performance would ever suggest, that the prospect of having it, genuinely and without the protection of managed distance, is the most terrifying thing their interior world contains. There is something else the avoidant sees in you that produces the specific quality of the staying away, something beyond the threat of being known. They see themselves, not literally, but the version of themselves that genuine connection with you might make possible, the fuller, less defended, more alive version that the managed life keeps at a careful, protective distance. Your wholeness does not just attract them. It indicts the smallness they have been living inside. It makes the architecture of their self-protection visible in a way that ordinary connection never does, because ordinary connection does not offer the contrast. You are the contrast, the living demonstration of what it looks like to inhabit yourself fully. And standing next to that demonstration, the avoidant feels the specific weight of everything they have been trading away for the safety of the walls, the closeness they have not allowed, the fullness they have been managing against. The life that was possible and was not lived because the living of it required the one thing they have spent everything learning not to need: vulnerability. The distance is reverence that fear has deformed. It is the avoidant standing at the edge of the only thing that has ever genuinely offered them the possibility of the life they actually want, and choosing the familiar ache of absence over the unbearable risk of presence. They think you are the special one. They have thought so from the moment you registered in them as someone different. Not a comfortable thought, a destabilizing one. The kind of thought that reorganizes the internal landscape without asking permission, that makes the previous equilibrium feel suddenly, permanently insufficient. They stay away not because that thought is wrong, but because it is exactly, undeniably, terrifyingly right. And being right about you, knowing you are the one, and not yet having the courage that knowing requires, is the loneliest place the avoidant will ever live.